Hey guys, Forex here, hope you're all well. What you're looking at in front of you is the Night Moves collection for the Commodore 64. Now, every single one of these games work, apart from Shadow Warrior. The cassette's died, it's basically failed, the tape's gone bad. And we're finding that now, you know, these cassettes for the Commodore 64 and Spectrum and other devices, they're getting 30 plus years old and they just don't last that long. So what I'm going to have to do is see if I can restore this tape. Now the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a couple of tools to record to fresh brand new tape, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to splice it into this cassette housing. So give me 5 minutes to set up and we'll crack on with that. So okay, these are the devices we're going to be using to transfer Shadow Warrior's tap file to tape. Obviously the Commodore 64 is not here. I can't have all of them on the desk at once and explain what's going to happen, so yeah, I've just broken them up like this. So what you can see is 3 devices. Now the first device is a Tapuino. Now what this does is it loads tap files and uses the cassette port to send those tap files to the Commodore 64. Because it's digital, it loads first time every time. Now the second device you can see is something called a CloneMaster. Now the way this worked was you would hook up 2 Commodore cassette tapes back in the day. So you would have one as your source, one as your destination. So you would put, obviously for the source you would have the tape you wanted to clone, and the destination you would have the tape you were going to record to, and obviously you'd play on this one and record on this one. And what this would do is it would invert the signal, because obviously the signal coming out of the back of Commodore 64 is inverted. So if you tried to just record it straight, it wouldn't work. What you'd need to do is invert it, and that's what this does. So you can record it. And obviously we have a Commodore cassette tape recorder with a cassette. And these are the devices I'm going to be used to make a copy of Shadow Warriors. So I'll crack on with that. Okay, let me see if I can explain this and make it more simple. What you can see here is the CloneMaster. This plugs into the Commodore 64 cassette tape port on the back of the Commodore 64. Here's my source. This is the Tapuino that's going to play the Shadow Warriors tap file. Now if you're wondering what the wire is coming out, it's just a clone of this port here. The reason for that is because I can't have this plugged into here. It won't fit. It's just too wide. So all I've done is just clone this port, and it comes out the back and goes to this connector here. Now what's going to happen then is that's going to play the Shadow Warriors tap file. It's then going to invert it, and it's going to send the signal off through the wire to the destination, which is this Commodore 64 tape deck, which is then going to record it to the tape. And that's the way I'm going to transfer Shadow Warriors to tape. Okay, I've set the Commodore 64 up. Give you a quick look what that looks like. As you can see, the CloneMaster is plugged into the cassette port of the Commodore 64. I have the source set as the Tapuino. The destination is the cassette tape player. So what I'll do is I'll get a tape in here and I'll set that up and show you how to do this. So okay, I'm ready to transfer Shadow Warrior's tap file to tape. So let's power on the Commodore 64, and as you can see my Tapuino is fired up. Now the first thing I want to do is actually select the actual Shadow Warrior's tap file. So I'm going to go into no intro, and we're going to go to S, and we're going to go down to Shadow Warriors. There we go, Shadow Warriors.tap. So that's all ready. Now let me show you the actual cassette deck. A top tip for you guys, always use brand new tape. I learned that the old way back in the day. So yeah, always use new tape or virgin tape that's never been recorded to before. The worst thing you can do is try and go over old tape. It just doesn't work properly. Take that tip from an old Commodore guy from back in the day. Also what I've done is, you can see I've just moved the tape so it's just past the record head. So what I'm going to do now is I'm all set up. Now there's two ways I can do this. If this was a single load game, basically what I mean by that is it loaded the old game and that was it, I could Commodore one stop, play and record at the same time, and then once the game had loaded, that was it. It was a single load and it recorded the game. Now because this is a multi-load game, what I mean by that is it loads a level, then it stops the tape, you complete that level, it starts the tape again and loads the next level. Now because of that, I'm going to have to record without loading the actual Commodore game. So what I'm going to do now is I have my Shadow Warriors.tat file selected and I'm all set up recorder wise. So the first thing I'm going to do is press record on the tape, and then I'm going to tell the Tapuino to play, and as you can see the Tapuino is sending that information. And if we look at the CloneMaster, we can see the CloneMaster lights on. Now that LED lights up when there's data being transferred. You'll see it go on and off a few times. You can see it's gone out, now it's come back on again. So we're transferring the TAP file through the CloneMaster to the Commodore cassette deck. So what I'll do is I'll let this finish, I'll come back after that. So okay, we're done. Transfer complete. Tapuino's finished playing Shadow Warriors. It transferred it over to the tape. The Tapuino finished when the counter got to about 155, so I just let the counter go to 160. Gives me a bit of wiggle room to play with. So what I'm going to do now is unhook all this. I'll just plug the tape deck back in, I'll rewind the tape and see if we can load Shadow Warriors from the now freshly recorded tape. Okay, ready to give the freshly recorded tape a test. I've just got the Commodore cassette deck plugged in at the moment, so let's see if we can load Shadow Warriors from our freshly recorded tape. So I'm going to Commodore one stop, I get the press play on tape, press play, and we'll see if we get a load screen. And we do. Press space, let go on a little while. Looks good so far. What I'll do, guys, is I'll come back if the game loads. I'm not going to sit here for like 5 minutes waiting for it to load, so yeah, I'll be back in a little while. So okay, as you can see, the first bit's loaded okay, so I'm going to do what it tells me to do, is reset 0 on the tape, and then press space, and what will happen now is it will load the first level, and as you can see the tape's loading. What I'll do is I'll talk through this bit. The great thing about the Tapuino as well is you can record on it, so you can transfer your tapes to TAP file. Now obviously the way I would do that is, instead of having this as the destination, I would have this set as my source. So I put my tape I want to back up in this and then send that over to the Tapuino. So that gives me the option of backing up my old tapes so I can preserve them, you know, because I've got some old fast loader tapes up in the loft that's probably got bad by now. And as you can see, first level's loaded. So what I'm going to do now is we'll get this tape out of here and we'll splice it into the old Shadow Warriors cassette. So okay, as you can see, I have the old dead Shadow Warriors game cassette and the freshly new recorded Shadow Warriors game. What I've done is I remembered to fast forward it to 160 where it finished before, and because obviously I loaded and just tested the first level, but obviously I needed to get to 160 where the actual full tape finished. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the tape from this and I'm going to splice in this new tape. I'm going to show you how you do that. Now what you want to do is get to the very end. As you can see, I've fast forwarded it until I've got to the very end of the old tape. Now what I want to do, and now this is very important, you need to get the middle bit here and you want to pull it out through the middle. Now you want to get to the point where you get past the transparent lead-in tape. Now I'm trying to do this so I don't get, there we go, so it's there, look, can you see it? I've just pulled it through and that's the bit I'm looking for, that bit there. So I'm just gonna see if I can pull that a little bit just to keep that there. What I want to do now is, now this is going to be tricky because I'm trying to do this one-handed. What I want to do is come along and I want to cut the tape just before that white bit there, so there, that's it. Now what I need to do now is do the same with this. I need to pull it from this center part here. As I said, it can be a little bit tricky. So there, now I don't need to pull much of this bit out, and what I want to do is the same. I want to come along and just cut the tape like that. So now what I need to do is I need to take this end and splice it onto this reel, and then what I can do is I can take my pen and I can reel it in. So I'm going to splice that together and I'll show you what that looks like afterwards. Okay, I'm about done splicing the first part in and I can show you what I've done. All I've done is basically taken some tape and taped the lead in to the actual ferrite tape. What I'm going to do now is use a pair of scissors just to trim that down, and that's the first part of the tape spliced in. So I'll cut that tape down and show you what it looks like afterwards. So okay, as you can see, the tape has been spliced in. You can't even tell. All I'm using is the simple sellotape. Sellotape is more than strong enough to hold the lead in and the actual ferrite tape together. So all I'm going to do now is reel in the new tape onto the old tape housing, and as you can see, it's going in there quite nicely. Now this is going to take a fair bit of time, guys, so when I've finished I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, as you can see, the new tape has been reeled onto the old cassette housing. What I need to do now is do the same again. I need to come along and cut the, do that again because it wasn't very clean. That's better. Now what I want to do is get this and move that out of the way, keep that there so it doesn't move, because I don't want it to go inside and I lose the actual tape. What I need to do now is come along and grab the old tape and just get rid of the old tape off this reel. So I'll get on with that and I'll be back in a little while. Okay, as you can see, the old tape has been ripped out. Here it is, the old rubbish tape that doesn't work anymore. I've got the lead-in bit of tape and the ferrite tape. All I need to do now is splice that together like I did the other part. I'll get on with that and show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, as you can see, new tape's been spliced in. Just need to reel the lead in. And there we go. We're all done. I can get this into the Commodore 64 tape deck. We can give it a test. So okay, I have the Shadow Warriors cassette ready to go. What I want to do just to tension the tape is I'm going to fully fast forward the tape to the end, and I'm going to rewind the tape, and that'll help retension the tape because obviously I winded it by hand. Also, what that would do is it will show you that the actual sellotape I used to stick the lead in and the lead out tape is actually strong enough. So first I'm just going to fast forward the tape. Okay, so that's all the way fast forward. I'm going to stop that and we're going to rewind the tape now. Okay, and that's it, it's fully rewinded, and as you can see it's strong enough, otherwise it would have snapped. So yeah, that's the tape retensioned. What I can do now is see if this loads. So I'm going to set up my tripod and we're going to watch the full game load. Okay, I'm all set up. What I'll do is I'll show you the tape in the cassette player. What I'll do is I'll press Commodore 1 stop, let's play on tape, and we can sit here and watch this tape fully load. So, okay, there you go, loaded. First time, not a problem. Managed to save the actual cassette. You know, there was nothing I could do about the actual tape inside the cassette, but I managed to save the housing, and we spliced in some new ferrite tape with the actual game on it, so no one will ever know. So yeah, I hope you like this video, guys. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one. Nice.